Yo, what's up? What's up? I'm sorry I'm recording in dark, but I'm driving and I don't want to have my lights on to draw attention. But, I want to talk to you guys about this video about the story of this guy who's like wealthy. He's got like a lot of money. And I picked up this lady, she's a bartender. She actually came here from New York, okay? And long story short, I was talking to her about how there's a lot of crypto investors that come here and they're bored, because it's like once they come to Puerto Rico, the honeymoon phase is gone. They have like nothing to do, and they end up leaving, going back to the real world. And she made a comment about how she says in New York she knows a lot of people, that there's always that one or two friends that's got a lot of money. And what he noticed is that like her friend, who's like extremely wealthy, he's like lonely, and he said like he's always trying to call every one of his friends. He knows a lot of people, but every one of his friends are always busy working, and so he's just end up being alone, And that's the thing, when you have a lot of money with no purpose, it can be an empty feeling. That's why they say it's lonely at the top, because when you are successful, you make a lot of money, it's like what else is there to do? You know what I mean? You've already bought all the stuff, kind of like Will Smith said when he asked him, he got everything. Well, how does it feel? He's like, the feeling when you reach rock bottom is the exact same feeling when you reach over the top. It's a very scary feeling, I remember when I moved here, and I had a lot of money saved up. I felt like there's no point in me working because I got money. And then when I lost all my money, I'm starting all over again. In a sense, it's kind of like a relief, It gives me purpose to work again. So I was talking about earlier, don't put your happiness on pause because you want to make a little bit more money. If you can create happy moments every single day and appreciate every single day, your life is going by so fast. That's why I like to make videos. I like to interview like these Uber riders, get a little story and just kind of share it with the world. Because I'll be able to look back at my life and say, what have I done in my life? All I did is just do Uber here. It's like, no, what I've done in my life is I created meaningful memories, and I developed friends here in Puerto Rico, and just make people smile, trying to make little videos, make people laugh and stuff. And so the point is that if you keep searching for that one girl, that one guy, if you keep searching to get that house, to get that car, dude, I had a house, I had 3 cars, and then I got divorced and I got rid of it, and I was more happier getting rid of everything because I had a sense of freedom. I don't have to pay any bills, and so like when you attach your happiness based off of constant success and constant accumulate materialistic things, it's like an endless pit. It's like drinking salt water, So I just wanted to share that, just to remind you guys is that you have everything. You guys have everything that you ever wanted. The fact that you're breathing. There's people in the hospital right now that would do anything just so they could walk, just to get out of the hospital and just enjoy a meal, go out. Just remember that. But yeah, I just wanted to share that story because that's kind of like an interesting pattern. I have a friend of mine. He's a millionaire and he lives in the Philippines, and he called me like a couple months ago just to prank call me. I'm like, bro, are you serious? Like, do you have anything else better to do? But yeah, he's like a grown man and he just prank calls people, So, yeah, and and one of the things is that I was watching this video and this guy was saying, if you're 30, if you're 40, you know, when you become 80 years old, you would trade everything just to live those years again. So imagine you're having this second opportunity to live these years again, and because you're still young. And I wanted to share another thing too about my last thing. It's about mental real estate. Okay. The thing about mental real estate is so crucial because mental bandwidth, mental energy. You know, you gotta really be careful at who you surround yourself. Okay. You know, there's a you know, you want to be able to help people because, you know, they need help, but at the same time, you want to be able to be strategic in how you help people. My point is you ever have that friend who they said something, they only said something like in 1 minute, it just kind of triggered you and it got you upset, right? Well, imagine that time when they said something and it took 1 minute, got you upset. You know, imagine how you don't realize it, but it slowly creeps in. That really, that they didn't waste 1 minute of your time. You know, that one comment that they made on your social media, that one sentence that they mentioned, they actually probably wasted 3 hours or maybe 3 weeks. Or maybe there's one lady, she said that there was one comment on her post, it bothered her when she was 19 years old and she's 27, still to this day it still bothers her, you know, because I guess it exposed her insecurity. But that's an example that how, you know, you got to protect your mental real estate. You know, you can't let these things into your mind because it's slowly diminishing you, you know. So you got friends that want to help you, but, you know, like what they say, toxic people, you know, that's why you got to have thick skin to protect your mental real estate. All right, that's enough for today. My deep thoughts.